Hi guys. The family's all here. We might be sniffling because Lucas got us sick.
Yes.
All of us, except Milky. Lucky animal cells. Yeah, so today we're going to answer some questions. We only have one microphone, so it's going to stay here. We're going to answer all the questions that you guys asked us about how to handle being in a relationship and one of the partners having PCOS, a endocrine disorder, thyroid issues. A lot of people focus on the physical exterior, but no one ever talks about the mental health, how it really...
Manicure time.
It's manicure time. No one talks about how it can really impact your mental health. I know I lost a lot of friends during my flare-up because I didn't even have the energy to text back. I had no social battery. If I couldn't even take care of myself, there's no way I was going to be my best for my friends. I didn't even want to see my friends. It was a dark time, but I was also in a relationship with Lucas. And that was also very difficult because you want to be the best version of yourself for your partner, but sometimes it was just impossible. Like, I could not control my anxiety. He hates when I speak about these things. Brief intro, guys. Lucas and I have been together for
4.5 years.
yes, 4.5 years. It's gone by so quickly.
It's flown. Approaching 5.
Approaching 5.
Approaching
Yes,
5.
that is true. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
What language did we meet in?
We met in English, but we quickly switched to Spanish.
Like on Instagram.
We were texting on Instagram.
Ah.
My turn?
Yeah, grab it.
We met in English online. We were texting online. But since I asked the obvious question that everybody asks when you first meet somebody, where are you from? And Mila replied, Mexico. I wanted to test my Spanish skills. Been put under the rug for a long time.
And you did very well.
And so we quickly pivoted back to Spanish. Although when I tried to explain myself in more technical terms and have a more in-depth conversation, we would quickly go back to English.
Yeah, that's something that's... Thank you. This is too funny. It's really funny because Lucas and I, we now balance 4 languages: Italian, French, English, and Spanish. And we always find ourselves speaking a specific language. Like when I speak to him in Spanish, it's really from the heart, or it's like to tell him a joke. When he talks to me in Italian, it's always about food or telling me a joke. Because we're in Paris, we might speak some French, but not even. Like, we will speak in French if everybody around us doesn't speak French. Like, we don't enjoy speaking French. Let's just be honest.
That's true.
And
who does?
But we always find ourselves speaking mostly English because when you study in a language, I've written so many essays, I've had so many grammar quizzes that my English, my vocabulary is just the strongest and I can express myself the clearest.
True.
That brings us to one of our biggest fortes.
Languages?
No, speaking clearly. Communication.
Communication.
One of our greatest strengths, by far, has been nailing down our communication.
Yeah.
And having a language barrier doesn't help. It makes it fun sometimes.
We've had problems with language in the past because of cultural language miscommunications, that's how I would put it. But especially misinterpretations maybe. But right? Especially at the beginning, I think one thing that is super important to mention is we met and quickly we went into the pandemic and into full lockdown. And that's really where we got to know each other at the deepest levels.
Yeah.
Obviously, being in a specific environment, and you touched based on that in your last episode, you were at home, there were a lot of things going on. That was not maybe the best way to meet her family as well. And so we had to work through a lot of issues together. And whenever they would come up and they would block one another, a feeling of heavy frustration, feeling really misunderstood, I would not stop bothering Mila until we would figure it out. A lot of nights finished at 6 in the morning.
No, that's an exaggeration.
No, okay, exaggeration, but easily 3 to 4 in the morning.
Yes.
In cries, but in happiness as well, because we would get to the bottom of where the miscommunication was and what created that frustration. And that was super important. And I would go literally on her bedside and I would be like, Cami, you're not going to sleep. We're going to figure this out. I'll take a pillow, sit on the floor, and we would discuss it.
And
And
I'd
I
be
think,
like, no.
and she would refuse. But today, after,
The best.
it's probably the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yes. One of the best things he did early on in our relationship is he would never let me go to bed angry. Like, we've done that in the past, even with like our family members. You don't want to go to bed in the wrong foot or go to bed angry. It does you no good. But Lucas took that to an next level, an extreme. Like, it would be until 3 a.m, like talking out every single detail. This triggered this. I've noticed you, like, you've been holding things in, like, what's going on? And he would not let me go to bed. And that was very foreign to me in the beginning. And I was like very defensive. I was not comfortable at all with it because, first of all, I wanted to go to bed. I was tired.
Sure.
And in
We
order
were not
for
used
me,
to it.
of course, yeah, because there's like barely any communication skills in my family. My family's not perfect, but that's a big issue that we all have. It was not easy for me to even speak to Lucas about these issues because I had no skills about how to express myself without getting defensive, or I always held things in. I'm the type of person that at a nail salon, you can destroy my nails. I'll say, they look very pretty, thank you. If my food order was wrong at a restaurant, I would never say anything. And then I met like my total opposite, who's one of the most confident people I've ever met in my life. And that's one of my favorite things about you, because I'm the opposite. It is one of the best tools that we had early on, thanks to you.
Sure.
But one of the questions you guys asked us that I can't stop thinking about is, how soon in the dating phase should you be vulnerable about your health issues?
Okay, so can I tackle this one?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Off to you.
I think this is really individual to different people and
the health issue.
the health issue as well. In our case, we decided to break every single rule from day one. Literally, after spending the first evening together, when I dropped off Mila back to her dorm, I went back home and I said, you know what? Ma vaffanculo. I want to write her a love letter and I'm going to send it to her. And if she never replies because she thinks weird guy, then my bad. And it is what it is.
We broke the date.
Exactly.
That's
She
what it is.
reciprocated.
Okay.
We broke the dating rules. Mila reciprocated. And the rest is history. So from that moment on, there was nothing to hide. We went through a discovery phase together.
It thinks you're like this.
Yeah. We went through a discovery phase together, and every time we were very open about everything about us, our health issues. The confidence really built up very fast. But I've seen on the opposite end where people are more shy. And part of coming open about your health issues is also creating that environment where the other person feels more comfortable. I think one big step is when you live with your partner, hiding those potential health issues creates a harsh environment. How do you want to say it?
I think this really depends on the health issue. Put yourself in their shoes. Think about if your partner had that exact issue you may be dealing with, when would you like to know? And I know that this also plays into how serious the relationship is, how mature they might be. You don't know how they will handle it. I think if you have those thoughts or you're not sure about what their reaction would be, that might be a little bit of a red flag, because I don't know, I'm like a very empathetic person and I can read people before I meet them, and I know very well how they might react about me having a health issue. But regardless of anything, I think when you have a serious medical issue, or when you just have something like PCOS or any thyroid disorder, or something that just casually flares up, like eczema, again, it could be anything, that's when you really want to, I would say, be as open about it as quickly as possible. Because if that person sees your medical condition as a red flag, they are a red flag. Not all of us are healthy. I met Lucas. I had no idea I had PCOS. I had no health issues. The only thing I had was like allergies. And next thing you know, like a year after a relationship, I started to really get sick. It started with IBS. But like when I really started to have a flare of my symptoms, it was a year down the line. I felt much more comfortable because we really knew each other. But if I would have gone through my health journey and then I would have met Lucas, I would have told him very quickly and very realistically in a way that wasn't scary. I would be like, hey, this is what I have. Sometimes I have good days, sometimes I have bad days, or I might need some extra support. And guys, if that person doesn't react in the way you want them to, then they're probably not the best fit for you, because your partner is so important in your health journey. As you guys have seen with me, I was blessed with such an incredible human. He really, really, really helps me when I have my flares, or even when I don't. The fact that he takes a lot of stress and a lot of work off of my shoulders. Like today, he'll throw me a little note to remind me to take my supplements, or bring me a little coffee, ask me if I'm doing okay. I didn't have that with Lucas the first year that we were together. And one of the most beautiful things is that, yeah, like there's a lot of bittersweet moments to being sick or having a syndrome, a disease, because nobody wants that. But I also get to see him take extra care for me. And it's really beautiful because it gives him more opportunities too.
To me, we had this issue in the past where whenever Mila was sick, I guess the first year, whenever Mila was sick,
We didn't know what I have.
I was selfish. I was just focused on my own path, kept on doing what I was supposed to do with my day, and kind of was like, figure it out to get better. Because it's annoying. In a way, it's weird to say, but it was frustrating me.
Speak more on that.
And because it would prevent us from doing things together, it felt like the car wasn't running. We couldn't go on those dates, that activity, a sport activity together, go for a beautiful romantic dinner. There was just a lot of frustration in me, and thinking about it.
I wouldn't even speak. Like, I at our dinners together, like, I would be yawning the moment we would sit down. Like, I was not functioning.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas would literally speak to himself.
We actually laughed about this. The dinners were monotone.
Monologues.
The dinners were monologues.
I mean,
Daily activities were always cancelled. So there was a lot of frustration setting in. But now, with a step back, you realize how many missed opportunities were there for me to show that I could be that life partner and take care of her in good times and in bad times. And just with time and with maturing and going through more difficult things, losing my dad, I realized that there's a very few set of people that will be there for the long run. Actually, I can probably count them on my right hand. And you want to be there for those people every chance that you get, whether it's with a little message or a gesture, even more with your life partner. Now today, for example, I take every single occasion whenever Mila is a little bit down to show her that I want to be that person for her, just like she was for me, because you've sacrificed so much when I was down for a long time, and you've given me a lot of second chances. Now, by that I mean there were a lot of instances where I was not that person that was showing up for her. I was very selfish, like I said. I was living in New York, focused on my academic career, professional career, entrepreneurial aspirations, and although we were madly in love, I was not the mature partner that you would expect from a life partner.
A life partner.
And rightfully, there were breaking points where Mila felt like she was not being heard, listened, and that her level of care was not being reciprocated. She felt really alone.
But I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
But at this time, I was frustrated, but I didn't even know what was wrong with me. I thought it was normal to be
down. She, like I said, every time there were these big breaking points, we would spend not one night until 3 a.m, sometimes several days. I think the longest time that we were discussing day in, day out must have lasted 10 days. We were exhausted by then.
No, it's never been.
July 2021?
No, that was because other people.
Yes, but wait.
No, guys,
The point is,
this is some tea. This is gossip. Crazy things have happened to us where like external people try to break us up. This is very different, Lucas. There were some snakes in our relationship. This has nothing to do with you. When I started to have all the flaring of my symptoms and my health started to really decline, I didn't know at the time that I had my health issues. Again, I was going through my investigation, getting told by every doctor that I was perfectly fine, perfectly healthy and normal. But I had like a rough patch with Lucas because I started to not really be there at our dinners. Lucas would really be talking alone. I wouldn't even want to go on a walk. I didn't even want to take Minky on a walk. Like, I had no energy, I had no libido, and I had very little, like maybe 10 minutes a day, I would just have a burst of energy and really be there. But that's not enough. And I can imagine that really bothered you. I can imagine that was really difficult for you as well.
yes and no. I think at the time I was a different person. It would frustrate me a lot. Looking back at it, it was never a make or break for me because I was madly in love with you. But for those of you out there caring for a partner that might be going through all these initial symptoms, it's totally valid to feel alone, frustrated, you know, questioning yourself whether are you with the right person or not. Now, the question is really back to you. Do you see yourself long term with this person? And can you be their life partner in this rough patch of their journey? Because I promise you that in a couple, who knows, in 1 year, 2 years, three, it gets better and you might find yourself in a difficult position yourself. I'm speaking to your partner now. And your partner is never going to forget those times where you stood up for them and they're going to do the exact same thing for you.
There is something to be said about how beautiful it is, the bond you create with someone that takes care of you when you are not healthy, when you're not at your best. And Lucas and I have both had the same experiences. And after I got my diagnosis and we both realized that I had PCOS, a thyroid disorder, Epstein-Barr, and all these factors that were explaining why I was so tired and I was so miserable, it was like a sigh of relief. And that's where I think it clicked for you as well.
Yeah.
Because you were just that much more helpful,
Knowledgeable on the topic, and just motivated to turn the page and to both start a new chapter into our lives.
Yeah.
With that said, on to the next.
How did you help me when I had body dysmorphia?
Oof. At first, actually, I was very challenging of the different diets that you were going through. Very skeptical. It started with this infamous nutritionist doctor in New York that would prescribe her hundreds of dollars a month of protein shakes and barely any solid food. Went on to being
Supplements.
Yeah, his supplements. Then it switched to vegan. Then it switched to a 1,000 calorie diet because of this specific trainer. And there were a lot of changes. And every time I was very critical and I was challenging them, but without providing any real solutions. And it was difficult for you to, we would have a lot of friction because of that. But what I was not seeing was, with a step back, that there was an actual eating disorder behind it because you were trying to achieve unreasonable and unnecessary body goals that were the product of the pressure that the industry that you were in were putting on you. Now,
Okay. This is when we were living in New York and I was working as a model and I started to gain weight from my PCOS and I started to panic because that's how I would pay rent. And Lucas kept telling me, just drop it. Like, you should not be doing this. What you're eating is crazy. And I didn't listen to him because I had to make rent. I had to pay my bills. And in came in
the release when we finally got to Paris. And that's when you gained, I would say, the most amount of weight because that's when your body really relaxed and the massive flare resurfaced. And at that point, even though I knew that you were suffering, you were in a very vulnerable place, you had gained a lot of weight, I had the ability to see this as a result of the issue that you were going through, PCOS, hypothyroidism. And I never, ever once, how can I say this? I would try to give you compliments as often as possible. Try to make you as comfortable as possible. I would plan trips around places where we would not have to go to the beach or not be in fancy dresses that I knew would make you uncomfortable. I would try to spend more time indoors where I knew you were safe at home. But what I tried to do was to positively reinforce I mean, a result that was not your fault, and slowly, really positively reinforce every time you would take a little step towards getting better. Whether that was cooking your own meal, or making a healthier choice, or coming to the gym with me once more during the week. For me, that was very important. But at that point, I had the maturity. So if your partner is having weight dysregulations, try to be that person. Make sure that you positively uplift them every chance you get. If you know that they're uncomfortable in a bathing suit or a tight dress or a fancy dress, don't force those situations on them. Understand them. If you find yourself having to go to the beach and you see your partner keeping their loose shirt on, don't ask them to remove it. They might not be comfortable going for that swim. Just maybe stay with them at the umbrella, you know? Or if you see them finally cooking a healthier meal, tell them not once, not twice, 3, 4, 5 times, I'm so proud of you. Wow. And it's really going to stick and it's going to make a difference. So that's what I did. Yeah.
How can you explain to your partner what we expect from them support-wise?
It's for you to explain to me.
Before I was diagnosed, I was starting to get a bit irritated because there were clear things that I needed help from, but I felt like I should be able to do everything myself. I'm somebody that is terrible at asking for help. In fact, I will say yes to everything, and I will put myself in uncomfortable situations that I should not be in. I've learned now to say no. I'm getting better at it. But one of the key things that I realized, like after being with Lucas for over a year, is that I would hold and keep things in instead of asking him to change it. And I would just be like, wish to a fairy in the sky that hopefully Lucas would figure out what I was angry about, or figure out that, like, I don't know, whatever I needed at the time, that he would just miraculously think of it. This is terrible.
Long shot.
Very long shot. They never get it. He would eventually ask me, hey, what's wrong? But that's after I had been miserable for half of the day and with an attitude. Either way, I matured. And I finally got to telling Lucas, if you would offer me water or offer me like a little tea, I go to bed an hour later. It takes forever for me to go to bed. I would tell Lucas, I would really love it if we would speak before we go to bed, or like we would do something to help me go to bed.
Yesterday you asked me, speak to me. I said I'm going to bed. 1 a.m.
I mean, it was 1 a.m. last night. I'm like, I can't sleep. Can you please speak to me because I'm lonely?
My love, no, I'm going to bed.
No, but what did you do this morning?
But this morning I got up and I went to this new bakery in the 9e arrondissement to get you this special pastry that they make, cardamom bun, a cinnamon bun, and a pain suisse, straight out of the oven at 8:30 in the morning. It was so good.
Balance, guys. So, no, but like, I learned to ask things from him that I had never been used to doing. I was never the type of friend, the type of girlfriend. I was never the type of person to ever say, hey, can you get me a Coke? I want a Coke. I would never. I would be the one to get up and then get it and then offer them. I have never been somebody that asks people for anything. So when I started to get comfortable with this idea of like, hey, can you get me some water? Can you offer me these things? And I realized he's like, yeah, absolutely, of course. I thought you never asked. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually really nice. And as he was doing these little things, I was recharging my battery. There's one thing I will always hate to do is laundry and my closet. I will clean the house with a toothbrush. It'll be perfect. But laundry is just something that I don't like to do. It's okay. I will scrub the house. I clean the house like 4 times a week. I vacuum everything. Like there's not a crevice in the house that is not perfect. But the closet I cannot. So that's where Lucas said, hey, you'll never have to fold anything again.
And I'll never have to vacuum anything again.
So we made a deal.
Boom.
And these little things, we divided our tasks. But one thing I love about Lucas, you said it, the percentage.
Yeah. No, this is actually something that Michelle Obama said.
Michelle Obama.
Shout out to Michelle. She said, or Barack, I'm not quite sure, Mr. President. But a relationship is never 100%. Neither 50-50. No, a relationship is never 50-50. Sometimes Mira wakes up and has a day where she's 40 and I have to be at 60. There can come times where I'm at 20 and she has to be at 80. It's all about balance. It's never going to be an exact equation.
Yeah.
But you have to recognize that you want that balance on the long term. If you find yourself for, 3 years straight being the 80 and your partner is 20, and that's probably not the right partner. But recognize and realize that life is all about balance. It's not a perfect math equation.
And feel comfortable about asking things that you need, things that will help you. Okay, from your perspective.
Yes.
They're asking from Lucas's perspective. How does somebody create a healthy relationship?
Oof.
Just go on the core.
Core. How do you create a healthy relationship? Number 1, communication. Speak the same language. Factually. Be ready to be open with each other from the beginning. And whenever something does not work out, because everybody's different. Everybody comes in an adult relationship with a past. It's normal that you're going to carry a baggage with you. Be comfortable talking about the uncomfortable things, especially if you plan on doing big steps together. So communication, number 1. Second, trust. You want to show every time you have the occasion and reinforce the trust balance, the trust meter. How do you say that?
Meter? Meter?
Trust meter.
Is that a thing?
No, but I want to invent it. You want to increase the trust meter every chance you get. Because mind you, we all start with 100%. But little things in life make it so that people lose trust and then they regain trust and so on and so forth. So every time you get the chance, make sure that the trust meter keeps going up one little step. Number 3 is prioritize quality time together. Now, mind you, quality time is not sitting together on a couch, both on your phones, not speaking, or watching the same screen together. Quality time is actually being involved in that person's life, creating an experience or going out for a little moment. It can be 1 hour, it can be 30 minutes, where you dedicate yourself to them. That's super important, especially if you're very busy at work, you guys see yourself at night. It's easy to get into that routine where you go home, you close the laptops, you jump on the couch and you open the TV. No, make sure you schedule time at this point where you're dedicated to that person. Number 4 is create healthy habits together. I think there's nothing more beautiful than deciding to take on change with the person that you love. Be that motivator for them and have them be that motivation for you. And together you both start on this journey so that you have something that you both together are creating and working towards too. The last one would be, don't overpromise. Live in the present. I see so many times, I see my friends or even adults being like, in 1 year, I'm going to take you there, or this is going to happen, or
promises that are just bullshit.
You're going to see next summer is going to be incredible, and just start to name drop, promise, invent, live in a fairy tale dream with the other person next to you waiting, quote unquote, for things to get better or for something extraordinary to happen, and constantly feeding those dreams to them. Live in the present. Be honest. If you're having an issue at work, tell your partner. If you're unsure about a certain thing, maybe bring it up. Find a way to discuss the uncomfortable. Be realistic. Live in the present. Don't overcommit or make promises that are not achievable. So these are my 5 tips.
What makes a relationship work besides what Lucas has already said? So they're referring to the viral video. I think the most beautiful thing Lucas and I have is our crazy amount of honesty and vulnerability. Like, we will call on bullshit in 2 seconds. We will never let each other lie to each other, but because other than the fact that we cannot, it's impossible.
Physically, I have this thing where when I try to hide something, I'm not saying the full picture.
Smile with your right. We know our
Smile here.
guys. 4.5 years later, I know everything about Lucas. Even the way he walks into a room, I know if something's off or what's in his head, which is really beautiful. But in that mindset of honesty and just complete and total vulnerability, it allows you to not only fix each other, because I let him in to see all of my flaws and I don't care. If I have an issue, the first person I go to is not my mom, it's not my dad, it's Lucas. And a lot of us have been taught, oh, you never want to tell a man your problems. Oh, you never want to do this because he'll dump you, he'll leave you, whatever. This is just such backwards mentality. And I was raised like that, guys. You have to be the perfect housewife and you have to marry a rich man. And then I saw Cher and she's like, I am the rich man. And since then, it's been like, I want to tattoo it on my chest. But I've been raised in that mentality from my grandma. Sorry, grandma, I have to put you out there. It's true. It's just 100 years ago, guys. It's like a century-old mentality. And what I love about being able to just be so vulnerable with Lucas about anything, my financial situation, my emotional situation, whatever, my dreams, my goals, is that I allow him in, and he's somebody that instead of saying, oh, that sucks, he's the first person to sit down with me and help me out. And I know that whatever he does, it's out of obviously the goodness of his heart and because he loves me. But it's like, it's given us so many opportunities to build something together. And for me, he's given me incredible advice. Even though we're like, 3 years apart? We are decades apart in experiences. He's like my biggest cheerleader. And I think that's the greatest thing. And I don't think I've told you guys, like, when I released my hormone balancing drink, I never ever planned on having a supplements company, on launching it, on selling a product, like a consumer goods product. Like, I never thought in my life that was in my destiny. But when I got the amount of requests and messages from you guys to make it all into one scoop and to sell it, that's where Lucas came in and said, Mila, whatever you need, I'm here to help you. And while he was working and he was balancing his own personal life, he was the one who took care of all of the back end, like, infrastructure of the company, finding good lawyers, finding good manufacturers, finding all these things. It takes a lot of calls. It takes a lot of time. He taught me how to pitch to investors, how to email. It's not my world. I didn't know how to do this. And he took me under his wing. He helped me to create this dream come true. And if it wasn't for this level of transparency and trust and, genuinely wanting to help each other just become better people, there would be no Hormone Harmony. And do you have anything to say?
Yes. Actually, I want to take it a step back. I was so angry to see how doctors treated you, how they would not return your calls, how you were dismissed by all these so-called famous doctors, and how they would switch up attitude whenever I would show up and I would start to come to your appointments and advocate for you. That prompted me to, when I started to see you sharing your vulnerable journey when you were in the hospital in February, how it resonated with so many women all over the world. There was a real opportunity here to disrupt the way things are done today and really make an impact to every single woman out there that is suffering, that is being neglected, first of all, and that is suffering from any type of hormonal imbalance. And that's where we're today. We've invested the last 18 months every single day, practically being close to being homeless at this point, from investing all of our savings, because we so strongly believe in this, sacrificing everything that we had because we so believe in what we've done, and doing it in a way that is different from the others, not cutting corners, being trustworthy, being transparent with you guys. And these are the fundamental pillars of Mila Mend that will make this product a real solution so that you don't have to go through what you went through.
Now, guys, to end things off on an even better note,
Hormone Harmony is going to be soft launching in the United States on May 25th. But there's a twist. We need your help. We are going to be selling Hormone Harmony as a bundle on our website, not on Amazon. That way we can assure that a select group of you will have enough product for a couple of weeks. And you will also be getting priority to repurchase once you run out of your bundle. Now, we are giving this at a special discount, and we're also including free shipping. We're not making any profits as a company because we are requesting your weekly feedback. We want to know how you feel, how you taste, and that way you will help us improve the general public launch, which we'll be releasing at the end of this cycle. We need your help. We're doing our maximum that we can to provide you this. But in fact, we're putting all of the product available for you guys.
Now, a lot of us have tasted it. A lot of people have said they love it. But we want you guys to perfect it. This Hormone Harmony, this drink, it's not mine, it's ours. Like everything I've told you guys anything I do, it's for us, it's for our community, and it's for a common goal. So it only makes sense for you guys to be part of the process. I'm going to be collecting your feedback. Please let me know everything you feel, you suggest that might be better, could be changed, because Hormone Harmony, it is made for you guys and it should be perfected by you. So on that note, I'm so excited, guys. Finally, after a year of researching and developing how to bring this to light, thank you so much. We're getting there. And thank you guys, because if it wasn't for you, for your support, for all of your messages, for you guys making videos,
this would not be a reality.
So thank you guys. And I'm so excited because this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning.
And get ready, because we are going to disrupt the wellness industry. And I swear, we're going to do it one step at a time. We're going to redefine women's health. You'll see. All right. Ciao, guys. Love you. Ciao.
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 Ciao.